Bhagavate Uttama Sloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naistiki. Today we are reading, let's see, Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 5, Chapter 7, verses 8 through 14. Text 8. Destiny fixed the time for Maharaja Bharata's enjoyment of material opulence at 1,000 times 10,000 years. When that period was finished, he retired from family life and divided the wealth he had received from his forefathers among his sons. He left his parental home, the reservoir of all opulence, and started for Pulha Asrama, which is situated in Haridwar. The Salagram Silas are obtainable there. Text 9. At Pulaha Asrama, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Hari, out of his transcendental affection for his devotees, becomes visible to his devotee, satisfying his devotee's desires. Text 10. In Pulaha Asrama is the Gandaki river, which is the best of all rivers. The Salagram Sila, the marble pebbles, purify all those places. On each and every marble pebble, up and down, circles like navels are visible. Text 11. In the gardens of Pulahasrama, Maharaj Bharata lived alone and collected a variety of flowers, twigs, and tulsi leaves. He also collected the water of Gandaki river as well as various roots, fruits, and bulbs. With those, he offered food to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Vasudeva, and worshipping him, he remained satisfied. In this way, his heart was completely uncontaminated, and he did not have the least desire for material enjoyment. All material desires vanished. In this steady position, he felt full satisfaction and was situated in devotional service. Text 12. The most exalted devotee, Maharaj Bharata, in this way engaged constantly in the devotional service of the Lord. Naturally, his love for Vasudeva Krishna increased more and melted his heart. Consequently, he gradually lost all attachment for regulative duties. The hairs of his body stood on end, and all the ecstatic bodily symptoms were manifest. Tears flowed from his eyes, so much so that he could not see anything. Thus he constantly meditated on the reddish lotus feet of the Lord. At that time, his heart, which was like a lake, was filled with the water of ecstatic love. When his mind was immersed in that lake, he even forgot the regulative service to the Lord. Text 13. Maharaj Bharata appeared very beautiful. He had a wealth of curly hair on his head, which was wet from bathing 3 times daily. He dressed in a deer skin. He worshipped Lord Narayan, whose body was composed of golden effulgence and who resided within the sun. Maharaj Bharata worshipped Lord Narayan by chanting the hymns given in the Rig Veda, and he recited the following verses as the sun rose. Text 14. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is situated in all in pure goodness. He illuminates the entire universe and bestows all the benedictions upon his devotees. The Lord has created this universe from his own spiritual potency. According to his desire, the Lord entered this universe as the super soul, and by virtue of his different potencies, he is maintaining all living entities desiring material enjoyment. Let me offer my respectful obeisances unto the Lord, who is the giver of intelligence. Thus end the Bhaktivedanta purpose of the 5th canto, 7th chapter of Srimad Bhagavatam, entitled The Activities of King Bharata. Hare Krishna.
Yeah, thank you so much, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna. Yeah, trust in Mate. When you're ready, you can start, Mate.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Hare Krishna to all the dear devotees and Vaishnavas and Vaishnavis. Thank you, Prabhuji, for giving me this opportunity so that I can purify my tongue. I'll start with short prayers first. ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरन्दस्य ज्ञानञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमति भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामी इति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषशून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्णा हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे. Krishna dear devotees. So we are reading Canto 5th. We are on the 7th chapter. This chapter is divided into two parts. First half was verse number 1 to 7, and today we are going to accomplish 18 to 14. This is one of the smallest chapters in this canto. Here it is titled as Activities of Bharat Maharaj. Uh, Before this, we have seen Bharat Maharaj is a son of Rishabh Dev. Rishabh Dev is the Supreme Personality of Godhead himself. Rishabh Dev had 100 sons, out of which Bharat Maharaj was the eldest son. And he had, being the son of Supreme Personality of Godhead himself, we can understand that there is none of the good qualities that lacked in him. Because he was the eldest son, he was the next king. And because of him, Bharat Maharaj, the country, India, is also known as Bharat Varsha. So he reigned over for a very, very long time. And he had a very good consciousness of sacrifices, performing devotional activities up to the mark as he was being taught by Rishabdev himself. Moving today, we'll start reading from verse number 8. I'll start sharing the screen quickly. In verse number 8, we see here it is specified that Bharat Maharaj reigned over the kingdom for about 10 million years. It is said as 1,000 times into 10,000 years, which comes up to 10 million years. 10 million years is not something which you can find very easily, understand very easily. It's a huge amount, even for Satyuga. So it is said that it was Bharat Maharaj said that it was because of the destiny. The destiny gave him such a long time. But here we understand by Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, he comments on this aspect that he enjoyed such a long time over the kingdom and all the opulences was because of the bhakti and not because of his karma. Because he actually practically had no karmas. He was such a pious personality that the karmas were not going to act upon him. His bhakti was very strong. And here it is also said that Bharat Maharaj was not able to ascertain only that when will this enjoyment come to an end. And this is why he decided to leave. So the understanding that we have is that he lost attraction for the entire kingdom, and this is the reason he left. So to lose the attraction towards material opulence, kingdom, name, fame, for that you have to reach a very high level of bhakti. Only a Mahabhagavat is able to attain that kind of feeling. Then we move on to the verse number 9. Yeah, here when Bharat Maharaj, he distributed all his wealth among his 5 kids. He had 5 sons, and proportionately, and then he moved on to a place which is called as Pulaha Ashram. So Pulaha Ashram, you can see uh, in this place, there is a description about Pulaha Ashram that this is such a pious place that a person is able to see the Lord as per his own desire. And this is also stated in Brahma Samhita, which Prabhupada is explaining us by giving an example that how Krishna is everything. I'll read the translation. This is from Brahma Samhita 5.39. I worship Govinda, the primal Lord, who manifested himself personally as Krishna, and the different avatars in this world in the forms of Ram, Nrsimha, Vamana, etc., as his subjective portions. So you can have any kind of desire that I want to worship Rishi Ramachandra, or I want to worship Nrsingadev or Vamana or Balarama. Everything is Shri Hari only. And whatever kind of we have the desire, Krishna is so affectionate that he is going to fulfill that desire to you and appear in front of you in that form. And this place, Pulaha Ashram, was very pious, and this is why Bharat Maharaj had come to this place for worshipping for the rest of his life. In verse number 10, again there is a description about Fulaha Ashram. Here there is a very pious river that flows by, Gandaki River or Gandaki Nadi. And here Shaligram Shila are found inside it as like you would see regular pebbles. You know, you see in any river there are so many stones and pebbles washing around. But here these stones and pebbles were actually Shaligram Shila, and each one of them had marks on them, like they were visible like navel on both up and down of the stone or pebble or shaligram shila. Here we move on to the next verse number 11. Here now Bharat Maharaj is residing in Fulaha Ashram, and what is he doing? He's executing his devotional services. In executing devotional services, the prime thing that he is doing is offering Patram Pushpam Palam Toyam. We read this in Bhagavad Gita 9.26 that what all Krishna needs is Patram, Pushpam, Phalam, Toyam, water. Because he says that bhakti, to execute devotional service, it is not very expensive. All these things you can see, you can find it out from the nature. Right now, Bharat Maharaj is not the king anymore. He is left everything and he is residing in Fulaha Ashram as a sannyasi. So when he is there, still he's been able to worship the Supreme Personality as per Krishna's desire. Here it is very important that we serve Krishna as per his desire. You cannot have your own desire. So he's doing it as per prescribed injunctions only. So he's offering all these things, and it is not even expensive for him. Here, Prabhupada is also mentioning Bharat Maharaj went to Fulaha Ashram, but we are in Kali Yuga. We don't have to go to Fulaha Ashram or any other ashram because in Kali Yuga it is not prescribed to go out and live in the forest for your sannyas. Uh, it is not prescribed to go out in the forest and live your sannyas ashram. What is important is that you stay wherever you are, but constantly meditate upon the lotus feet of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. That is the most important thing. And when a person is executing his devotional service, he first has satisfied himself, and with that devotional service, the most important thing that a person attains is detachment. Detachment is something very difficult to obtain. Detachment from all these worldly things is a pretty attractive. Having a big throne, having a big kingdom, and that is much more attractive than what we have. But still, it is very difficult to get detached from all these material opulences. And also, that being said, also it is very difficult to get detached from your loved ones, your relationships. So Prabhupada is saying that your constant meditation should be on the lotus feet of Krishna. And then wherever you are located, whichever place you are located, not necessarily any forest, that is going to be equal to Fula Ashram. So, with detachment, when you're having devotional service, detachment comes, and then comes very uh, high level of knowledge. Knowledge about realization about your own self, about the world, about Sri Hari, everything. So the person gets causeless knowledge and complete detachment when he's executing devotional service. This we also read in Bhagavatam 1.2.7. And once a person is offering devotional service to the Lord, this is that person's prime dharma. We say, what is our dharma? We go on saying that we have to earn money, build a house, get your kids in schools and colleges and whatnot. But apart from that, your prime dharma is to serve the Lord. Everybody has their own dharma. Like the fire has the dharma of burning things. Water has the dharma of wetting out things. Sun has the dharma of having heat. But we, as a jivatma, a soul, we have the dharma of serving the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But sometimes, because we get bewildered in this world, in this mrityulok, under the Maya, we start serving, but we start serving in the wrong direction. We start serving our senses, and that's where we start paying more attention, and that's how we get deviated. And hence, getting to our final destination, which is Goloka Vrindavan, becomes very, very difficult, sometimes even impossible. So it is very necessary that we serve, which is our dharma, but in the right direction, which is at the lotus feet of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And Prabhupada mentions over here, if a person has a lot of material desires, for him to be happy in this material world is going to be very, very difficult. When you have a lot of desires, you are not at peace. To get that peace, it is very necessary you start serving Krishna, as it is also stated in Bhagavad Gita 5.29, Bhuktaram Yogita Pasam, which says that the only key to peace is to know who I am. Right? We understand who is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, what is my position, and then that gives us peace in our heart. We know what to do. Once we do devotional service, we know peace is attained. And even if we do not go to Phula ashram, we can still get detachment and causeless mercy. This is how we derive like conclusion out of verse number 11. We move on to verse number 12. Here, um, Bharat Maharaj, now he is such an exalted devotee, we see. He was constantly worshipping Narayan. And because of this, he increased his bhakti and love for Vasudev, kept on increasing more and more. And then, because of that, his heart started melting. And then he gradually lost all the attachment for regulative duties. His hair also stood at the end of, because out of joy, out of ecstasy. And then the tears were flowing from his eyes so much so that he could not even see anything what is there in front of him. And then he constantly meditated on the red lotus feet of Krishna. And his heart over here, it is described, was like a lake, and that the lake was filled with water, and that water was ecstatic love for Krishna. So because of all these things, he started showing ashta symptoms, the 8 symptoms of bhakti. So if we see what are the 8 symptoms of bhakti, we understand their inertness, and a person starts perspiring a lot, hair are standing at the end of the body, and then his voice starts feeling, the person starts trembling, starts laughing sometimes very loudly. Sometimes there are a lot of tears flowing through his eyes, and the person is in the trance. So Bharat Maharaj over here was feeling that because of all these symptoms that I'm having, I'm not actually able to perform all my regulative duties that I'm supposed to. And he was not very he wanted to control those symptoms, because there were many times he used to forget to perform devotional services in action, though his heart and mind was constantly on the lotus feet of Krishna. He would forget to execute the devotional services. So he wanted to control them. This is explained by Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, that he wanted to control that. This is why he started executing prayers, which we read in verse number 13 and verse number 14. So here it is said that Bharat Maharaj started appearing very, very beautiful, and he was dressed in the deer skin. And now he started worshipping Narayan, who was residing in the sun planet. And Narayan is the predominating deity of the sun planet, and he is also known as Hiranyaya. And when he was worshipping them using the Gayatri mantra and also the hymns from Rigveda. So he was trying his best to have a proper rule and regulations in worshipping so that he doesn't deviate from that. But if we understand your devotees, he is on a Raganuga level. When we have read before and understood before that one, there is Vaidehi Bhakti and then there is a Raganuga Bhakti. When a person is doing a Vaidehi Bhakti, he is trying to follow the rules and regulations to the book. He is doing every step as it is being prescribed by the acharyas. But when a person has a lot of bhav and prema for Krishna, he sometimes is doing things spontaneously. But here, Bharat Maharaj wanted to be steady. So this is why he started worshipping Lord Narayan by worshipping the sun planet by hymns from Rigveda and Gayatri Mantra. And he always focused on the lotus feet of Krishna, and he was scared to not perform the devotional services, hence, he was performing it very sincerely. Then we move on to the last verse for today, devotees. This is also the last verse for this chapter. Here, Prabhupada is explaining about the sun. Prabhupada is saying we have already understood in the previous verse that the predominating deity for the sun planet is Sri Hari Narayan. So everything is controlled by the sun as per the scientist, which we agree. Yes, we have to have sunlight for growth, for development, for day, night, everything. So sun is very important. But the scientists, what they're not able to understand is the sun is also being controlled by Narayan. And Narayan, being the deity of the sun, he is actually controlling everything, the day, night, growth, nourishment of everyone. So the whole aspect, they are just able to understand the outer aspect, but they're not able to understand the real realization about the world is Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, whether in whatever form, is always going to be supreme, whether we agree or not, in material or in spiritual understanding. With this, I will pause over here. Hey Krishna, Dhanavad Pranam. Please forgive if I have made any mistakes. Hey Krishna.
Yeah, thank you so much, Raschandra Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you very much, Mataji. Hare Krishna.